I was told last night that I had to do this morning, so what do you do?
You do it.
That's it. Pull it out of the adapter.
But that's, I have an HDMI.
You don't have that.
No. This. Never.
What's the subject?
He'll pick it up in just a second.
What's the subject of this?
Contesting and logging.
Okay, what I'm going to do this morning is, how many of you do FT8, FT4, WSJTX? Boy, you're going to be interested this morning. There's a new mode out called FT2. Yeah. Nice airplane. Okay. All right. Now let's see. There we go. Let me see if I can find this one. Then we'll get started. There we go. Okay, FT2. It's everything is the same, except for it uses the same codecs. It uses all the other stuff that FT4, FT8 use. The only difference is now, FT8 takes about roughly 60 seconds to make a QSO. It's every 15 seconds. So FT4 is every 7.5 seconds. FT2 is every 3.8 seconds. So that means that if you have perfect and you're going to need really perfect conditions, because now instead of FT8 giving you the ability to hear signals down to neg 24, FT2 is only going to let you go down to neg 12, neg 13. So you're going to need pretty strong signals to do FT2. But the beauty of that would be, if you do have a great day, if your signals are all up there in the, pluses, +2, +3, +4, whatever, you're going to be able to make a QSO every 3.8 seconds. Go ahead, I know you got something to say.
About 3.8 segments.
Yes, yeah. So, every 11 seconds you can make a QSO in FT2. So, that averages to about, 240 QSOs per hour? So, contesting, great place. Not so much maybe DXpeditions, because you're not really worried about how many QSOs you're going to be able to make with a DXpedition. You're more concerned about getting the QSO. So, FT2, it's up and coming. So just be aware of it. I've made like 34 QSOs on 80 meters and 40 meters on 20 meters. And 10. So everybody's trying it out. There are a lot of beta, and this is strictly beta right now. I don't think WSJT, I don't think he's even endorsed it yet, I don't think. Even though his name is on the list of accolades. So, So what are you gonna do? I'm not gonna do a deep dive, because Dave called me yesterday and said, hey, what do you think? Tom wants us to give a presentation on, or wants me to give a presentation on FT2. And Dave says, well, I think you should do it because you've been working it. Oh, great. So that's when I found out. But I have been playing with this for probably the last 5 days. I can't see any difference in you know, how it works, other than the fact that it is much, much faster. It's twice as fast as FT4. FT4 is twice as fast as FT8. It's the same everything. You're not going to notice any changes as far as the way WSJT is going to work. You're just going to see that now, when it goes across and it does its thing, it's going to go really quick. It sounds a little bit like FT4. Let me see if I can find this file. Our buddy M0FXB created this, and it's pretty quick, so just keep your ears open. That's not it.
I've always found it strange. People really want to save money, but are so willing to toss their hard-earned coin into...
Okay.
I'm already doing that. Getting rid of it.
That's FT2.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another Tech Minds video. So I've just come across something quite interesting, and I thought I would share it with you just in case you haven't seen this. Now, you've all heard of FT8. If you haven't heard of FT8, then you're probably not a ham. But FT8 at the moment is probably one of the most dominating digital modes that we see on HF and other bands too. However, recently an experimental new mode called FT2 has been launched. Well, I say launched, it's kind of experimental. However, you can still get involved with it. Now, FT8 has a 15-second transmit and receive cycle, meaning it can take a couple of minutes to make a full QSO. Now, FT8 is quite special because it can decode down to roughly minus 20 dB SNR, which makes it absolutely great for those weak signals and all that kind of niceness when it comes to trying to make a contact when the conditions are really bad. FT2, however, its decoding sensitivity has been stated that it's around minus 12 dB SNR, so not as good as FT8. However, FT2 is faster. Instead of having 15 seconds for each part of the QSO, it's around 3.8 seconds, which makes it extremely fast to have a full QSO. It's roughly 4 times faster compared to FT8. So I guess you could class FT2 as a speed optimized digital mode, even though it's a little bit less sensitive. As I said a moment ago, it is still experimental, and there are actually quite a few people using it right now. It's even being reported to PSK Reporter. Now, if you do want to try it, you need to
If you want to try it, you can download it. Just do a Google search for FT2 mode, and it should come up with several places where you can download it. All I did was I downloaded the program. They want you to download it into your FT8 directory. I didn't do that. I didn't even have to mess with WSJTX. All I had to do was run the WSJT. Once you've extracted it and you've done all that thing and you've installed it, then it will put an icon on your desktop that says WSJT. It's 3.00 release candidate 1, and it will come up with an icon that denotes that it's FT2. just run that icon, double click the icon, and it'll run just like WSJTX, everything. Now, instead of having FT8, FT4, you'll now have an additional icon, button, whatever you want to call it, that says FT2. Click that, you're good to go. Go ahead.
I get the FT4 or whatever Facebook page, you know, with all of the FT modes. One thing, if you're running JT Alert, there was a comment that JT Alert will not spot FT2 at this time.
And it will not.
Right.
And you can't log it if you're running N3FJP because he has not added the FT2 mode.
Right.
So you're not gonna be able to do any of that. What I'm doing, just to make sure that I can get it all logged and eventually upload it to LOTW, is where it says mode FT2, I just put MSFK or MFSK, whatever, MFSK.
Yeah.
That's all I did, and
Okay.
then it will go to your ADI, and you can do all that and upload it whatever you want to do. I haven't done that yet. I'm gonna wait. I've already emailed Chris with N3FJP. He is aware of it, but he said if the developer wants to get with me, then that's fine. So he doesn't have any plans right now to just go ahead and say, okay, I trust that FT2 is going to be a thing. We'll wait till the developer contacts him. I haven't emailed the developer yet. I plan on doing that today. The developers are Italian, so they've done a good job. It works very well, but it's different, and it's not going to be for everybody. If you don't do a lot of contesting, you may not even want to do FT2, because FT8, FT4 are going to do what you want to do. But contesters are going to have a field day because you can make a QSO every 11 seconds. No brainer. Any questions so far? Because that's just about all I got. Arnie.
I'm used to getting help on the WSJTX group. Is help for this on there?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I doubt it. If you go out and do a Google search for FT2 mode, you'll find a crock full of stuff out there about it.
Great.
And there is a group, albeit it's the Italian group, that they have a forum, and it's in English too, so you can get help there if you need it. Any more questions? That's all I got.
And I want to thank Duane for putting that on at short notice.
Yeah.
I learned about FT2 Thursday night during the net. See, if you check into the Thursday night net, you learn all sorts of neat stuff. That's when Dave mentioned it. I know, what's this FT2 thing? Friday morning, I'm looking it up, and there's all sorts of YouTube videos. It's experimental right now. In fact, there is there's a RC, or Release Candidate 1 version 3.0 of WSJTX out there. So a lot of things happening in the digital world right now. So stay tuned. You'll probably hear more about FT2 shortly. What we're going to originally talk about today is I always get questions from people about what logging software should I use? What digital software should I use? So we're going to talk about some of the digital and logging programs that are available. And on top of that, give you a little bit of a history of where these software packages came from, what their value is, and can you still use them even. Well, way back when, imagine if you will, before JT65, before PSK31, way back, RTTY was the only real digital mode. And that was back in the bad days of, we didn't have software, we didn't have desk computers. Everybody had to use what's called a terminal unit. It was like a self-contained computer, modem, whatever. RTTY was done with the mechanical keyboard, or the green key machines as they would call them. Very noisy, very smelly, because you had to have all the machine oil squirting into the keyboards. Computers came along, digital programming improved, and lo and behold, here comes PSK31. One of the first PSK programs that were fairly decent was what you see on the screen is called Digipan. A very simplistic program. When it first came out, it could only do PSK31. Had a very simplistic logging program on it. You couldn't do contests, you could, but it didn't score it, it didn't keep or it didn't let you know when you had dupes, etc. So Digipan was one of the first digital programs that came out. It's no longer available. I say no longer available, it's no longer being developed. You can still download it, as you see here, but it's very simplistic. I keep it on my computer because if I start having problems, if you can't make your system run off of Digipan, you've got some real problems. It's that simple of a program. So I keep it on my computer at home as a backup. Now, as the world of digital as digital communications started to build up and become more popular, there were more and more software packages being developed. Whereas at first it was simply AFSK, RTTY, audio based, and then PSK31 came on board. And one of the early RTTY programs, it's written by a Japanese ham, it's called MIDI. Again, very simplistic, pretty straightforward. It was used all on its own. Then a couple of software developers included MIDI into their logging programs. In fact, one program we're going to see in just a few minutes, N1MM, incorporates MIDI to this day. But again, it's a very simplistic program, and it was one of the first RTTY AFSK programs to come on board. Another one that was, take you down to the pretty one there, was Logger 32. Hal's doing backflips back there. Hal was a beta tester for Logger 32. Logger 32 is not really a contest program. It's more of a DXing WAS special events kind of program. It can decode RTTY and PSK, but again, it's very simplistic from the standpoint of doing digital. But again, that was back when all there was AFSK, RTTY, and PSK. So they weren't too worried about any other exotic digital modes, plus the ones that eventually, there was very little digital contesting back then, except for RTTY Roundup, there was virtually none. However, along came a program called WriteLog, and this one is still under development. WriteLog was a contesting program, a logging program. It would only work with, or would only decode PSK and RTTY. Of course, you could use it with other contests too, phone, CW, but it was, again, fairly simplistic. It's still it's being developed today. It's still available. It's not free. I think it runs about 30 or 50 bucks, but it's a lifetime license. Again, very simplistic, but very restricted program. Now, programs started to develop, and our software developers started expanding and making the programs more comprehensive. And lo and behold, they came up with a program called MixW. MixW is sort of a contesting program. It's not a very robust one, but it does have all sorts of contests that are available. It was developed by some Ukrainian amateur radio operators, and most of the contests that it will support are European contests, rightly so. It will work with a lot more modes. There you have it. You can do, it'll decode CW. It does pretty good. It's not the greatest CW decoding software, but it works fairly well. Again, it's not under development anymore. There is a newer version of MixW called MixW4, which is under development, and as with MixW3, you have to buy a license to use it. But the MixW was one of the first comprehensive software programs for digital and for just about any logging when it came about. Now, pretty soon we had another program developed called FL-Digi. Many of you may have heard of that. I like this program just because of the display. It's big. You don't have to worry about all the clutter. However, if you start using FL-Digi, plan on taking about a weekend to set it up. It takes some effort to get it set up, but once you've got it set up, you've got a great program. I like to call it the Swiss Army knife of digital, and here's why. There are all the digital programs. It does CW, but it even does stuff that is what I would call grandfather programs, digital modes that aren't used anymore. But you get down into PSK, it's got all the PSKs, it's got the various ready speeds, etc. This can also find logging here. Come on, let's go. You can set it up to where it will send log entries to N3FJP software. We're going to show that in just a moment. It will also transfer to, let's see, what others? Just about, or Mac Logger, if you use Mac, but it can also transfer log records to other logging programs that will accept an ADIF file. Now, even though you don't plan to use FL-Digi as a principal logging or digital program, you may well still need it or have to download it because of some of the requirements of other programs. It utilizes many of the other programs, including JT Alert, which couples with WSJTX, and WSJTX itself, utilize the waterfall component from FL-Digi as part of their program. It goes out, finds it, and it exploits the waterfall. So if you're going to use or WSJTX, NN1MM, etc., you're going to need to download FLDigi anyway. Now, take a bite of that. Bite of that. Bite of that. We've mentioned N3FJP. How many folks are using N3FJP software? Ooh, lots of hands. Is anybody using AC Logger other than Henry? Anybody using the logger, the AC, general logger program from N3FJP? Talk to Henry. Henry, talk to Bill. Henry's trying to get it started and going. You'll notice his forehead is slightly bruised or beats his head on the desk. N3FJP, or amateur radio software, was developed by Scott Davis, N3FJP. He did it as sort of a sideline for a while, and once he retired, he and his wife and his son really dove into it and have developed a whole series of specialized logging programs. Some of you probably seen them. We use it. OCAPA has a license for the field day version. They're very intuitive, very simplistic. If you've seen one N3FJP logging program, you've probably seen them all, except for subtle differences. Now, the main, or are you? Here we are. Here's the raw advertisement. And that's the AC Logger. This is the general logging program from the N3FJP series. And it's just a, as the name implies, just a general logging program. But you can also go away. You can also import files from other N3FJP programs and other software, as long as you can get into ADIF format. Then, once you have it in the AC Logger program, you can set it up and it will send your files up to Logbook of the World when you figure out how to do it. Henry. We'll figure it out. We'll get it working.
Where the frog grows wings.
But it's a very convenient, a very neat feature. Come on.
You're in the wrong
Oh,
one.
it's
The
failed. Hit escape.
pop-up is right below it.
Come on.
Go down. Where it says done.
Under the X, is that
Down.
down one button? Down a button,
Top.
a gray button.
Right below that.
Where
Right
you
below the X. Right down below the X. Done.
Down.
Down.
Take your mouse down.
Down.
Down here.
Ah, done. Okay. I don't use AC Logger, so okay. Now, here is the field day log that we used from 2025. Okay, very straightforward, very intuitive. It can network pretty much all of the N3FJP software can network, and this is what we do at field day. Each of the operating positions Wi-Fi's to a network computer, and all of the contacts go in to one single file, and that way we can see how badly CW is getting beaten by Digi. Now, Here's the North American QSO party log.
Turn that off.
Not too much different. And that's the beauty of the N3FJP series. Easy to learn, you don't have any confusing configurations that you have to set up. I've got a list of various contesting and logging software on one side and a complete list of the N3FJP software. He's got a lot of software, and he's probably going to add some more before it's over with. N3FJP, you do have to pay for it. It's about $9 a software package. If you want the entire N3FJP software package, I think it's running about $69.
Well, last time I bought it was $50.
How much?
50.
50.
Okay.
And updates forever.
Forever,
Yeah,
free.
forever.
Yeah, and it's good forever. Updates are great.
Yeah.
Tom, I bought mine when I had a previous call sign, and I don't have to update it for the new call sign. I just have to remember my old passwords and my
Yeah.
old call sign.
Your license is in perpetuity. Updating is great because before you had to uninstall the program and then upload the new version. Now you just simply upload the new version, it's updated, it's ready to go. Yeah.
I like it because of the duplicate. If you have a duplicate call, it shows possible duplicate.
Yeah. Before you get too far, it comes up possible dupe. So it's got a lot of features, even though it looks simplistic. Yeah, Duane.
And if you're running it and he has an update, if you'll just close the program and rerun the program, it will automatically update it for you.
And if you work N3FJP in a contest, you get an Easter egg that comes up and says,
Yeah.
thanks for using my software.
Yeah.
One of the other things, like I said, that with FL Digi, you can set up FL Digi to send its contacts when you log them to an F3 or N3FJP program. It's a neat setup. Yeah.
This also has some other unique features with rig interface, where it accommodates almost every kind of radio, but you can run a contest from this without using anything else in CW, for instance, because it recognizes WinKeyer and all the other standard I/O stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with if they still have that feature. They used to have a feature where you could record not only CW standard messages, but I think you can record phone messages also. Correct me on that. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you the gold standard.
So Tom,
For somebody, oh yeah,
well, I use it for POTA,
yeah.
and it's so simple. It's so simple I can work it, and my software impression is there is a core engine for the software with different interfaces for different contest looks and feels. But you have the option of changing that screen to be in whatever configuration you want, and you can change the tab order. So what field it goes to when you hit tab, you can change all that. And uploading the POTA blog to POTA afterward is just a piece of cake.
Yeah.
The other thing I like about it is that it has a copy capability. You copy to the clipboard and it'll paste right in Excel if you want to do your own analysis, or what I have is formulas that create a log for me that I can print that I like.
And I want to emphasize something. Lucian nor I have a financial interest in N3FJP, so.
No, I just...
If we're going to talk about any kind of contesting or logging software, the one that's at the top of the list is this one, N1MM Plus. It's been around for quite a while. It's still under development, and in fact, it's not just one person. It's a development team. Each team member has a certain portion of the program that they're responsible for. They update almost weekly. I have seen updates for a contest software come out in the middle of the contest. They realize something's amiss, there's a bug, they immediately put out a correction to it or an update. N3FJP, or excuse me, N1MM has a great feature. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. And as we know, the only thing expensive about amateur radio, or the only thing that's cheap about amateur radio, are the operators. And that's one of the great things about N1MM. It can be configured however you want. Let me show you what the config file, or the window file. These are all the different things that you can display. You've got all the different modes, and as mentioned, it uses FLDigi for its waterfall. So you've got all those modes available. It does your it's got a list of contests that is longer than your arm, and go way up to the top. This is the start of the standard contest list. It's all the way down.
It's like a Terry Smith list.
And that's not all of the list. I won't call it a manual, I'll call it a book. Their online instructions are very comprehensive. And one element in it is called the User Defined Contest, or UDC. They have a whole bunch of other lesser, I shouldn't say lesser, but not as well known contests and events. But you can go in, and individuals have developed, and you can download those to add to this list, which is already very comprehensive. So if you're looking for like I said, the gold standard of contesting and logging, look at N1MM. The person that's the lead on this, Tom Wagner, who is N1MM, is a real sweet and charming individual. I made a suggestion to him at Contest University, and I said, why can't, when the QSL dialogue box that comes up with the person, all their information, where they live and so on, it always comes up in the middle of the screen. Why couldn't we set that so I can decide where it should come up? Instead of, oh, that's an interesting idea, yeah, we'll have to look into that. It was like, you don't need that. And my first thought was, well, then why am I asking for it? I just went, okay, thank you. Walked away. Commented to a couple other folks about that, and I said, yeah, that's the way he is. He's kind of a not invented here type of guy. If they don't think of it, you don't need it. But despite that, N1MM Plus is probably your best bet for any logging or contesting activity. As mentioned, I've got a list up here of some of the software, contesting and logging software, along with the N3FJP software. If you want to take that along, look at it at home, feel free. Any questions? I know, brilliantly presented program, no questions are needed, okay. All right, Terry, where are you? There, okay.